In this video, I'm going to walk you through lesson 4 of unit 7.1. Okay, so in our last lesson, we looked at ingredients and we kind of developed the term properties. We also mixed each ingredient with water. Didn't see much of anything happening, so we know that water is not the ingredient or substance that's creating bubbles with the other ingredients. So we kind of review our key ideas. It's a discussion. These are the key ideas that should come about in that discussion that we identified and record a new key model idea that the properties of a substance can help us identify it. Things like melting point, color, solubility, those are all properties that can help us identify substances, and some other ideas that I just was mentioning. So then we update our key model ideas. So this is the chart that we're keeping in class, and we add that the properties do not change for a substance. That's why we can identify them. So we're adding this to our class chart. And then we plan another investigation. So we think, okay, well, maybe we should mix the other ingredients together. So there is a slide here to help you plan an investigation. How can we figure out by testing other ingredients? So we're guiding them to the idea of we're going to mix Epsom salts with baking soda and Epsom salts with olive oil. And then we're going to test different combinations. And this is the data table that you will provide for students. Either they put it in their notebook after the investigation, or if you have a 3-ring binder, whatever your system is. But what you're going to do is each group is going to be assigned a row. So let's say I am row E. I am table salt. Table salt's already going to be prepped and dissolved in water. You'll have a large cup of this, and then you'll have small cups of these other ones. And you're going to mix a little bit of the table salt solution with the baking soda solution and the Epsom salt. Oh, actually, you're not going to do Epsom salt with Epsom salt. This entire diagonal, they don't do, because you're not going to mix the same ingredient with the same ingredient. So I will say coconut oil, olive oil, teachers have told me many times, just do that one as a demo to explain what you're doing. And because cleanup is so horrible for oil between your classes. So do that one as a demo, and they'll test the other ones. You will share out class data, and you're going to find a pattern. So the teacher guys said to set up notebooks to take observations, but I would say usually I just provide a handout, let them write on the table, and then put it in their notebook later. Depends on your strategy or materials management. But then you're going to conduct the investigation and share the results. And so the results should look something like this. When you share them, this is the row that nobody does because it's the same ingredients together. But you'll notice there's going to be 3 yeses for bubbles on the lemonade mix, the citric acid in the lemonade mix. There's 2 different lemonade mixes. All of them have bubbles with baking soda, and all of them have bubbles with baking soda. So there's a pattern here. And so it leads us to believe what's in the lemonade mix. And so we have it's on the slideshow. There's also a handout if you want to print it out, but you can just show this on the slide and notice that both of them have citric acid. So we realize that citric acid is the substance that's reacting with baking soda. We don't use the word reacting yet. That's mixing with baking soda to make bubbles. So students are going to update their progress trackers with this information. However, the big discussion is, can we create a claim and support it with evidence from our investigation as a class? So this is a pretty big discussion, and they argue which substance in the bath bomb produces the gas. So you're not going to tell them that it's citric acid. They're going to look at those labels of those lemonade ingredients, and they're going to see, oh my gosh, there's citric acid in there. And so then the discussion is, how can you support your claim that citric acid and baking soda are making the bubbles with evidence from our investigation? There is something in the teacher guide that talks about scribing claims and kind of modeling this. It just depends on what level your students are at, but these are the key ideas that should come out in the argument. That the claim is that the gas bubbles in the news are a new substance that were not there to start with, and that the evidence is that the starting substances were both solids and liquids at room temperature, but the gas that was produced is a gas. It's a different state, so it doesn't have the same property, so it must be a new substance. And then this reasoning is this state of matter is a property of a substance. It can help us identify it. and that because the gas is a different property, it must be a different substance. So this is really going to come out with your discussion. But in order to do that, they have to identify that citric acid and baking soda made the bubbles, and that the gas was made when these two were mixed. So look at the teacher guide if you want a little more support on that, how to kind of go through that discussion with making claims, supporting with evidence and reasoning. You could actually model this on the board with it, or hand out templates with a CER and have students write and kind of follow along. But there are a few CERs in this unit, so don't overdo it. All right. Good luck with lesson 4. Let's talk about materials prep.